Ever wondered how leukemia impacts different age groups differently? Well, to answer that question, we first need to understand what leukemia is. Leukemia is a type of cancer that primarily affects the blood and bone marrow, which is the spongy tissue inside our bones where blood cells are made. Now let's break it down a bit. Our blood is composed of several types of cells, each with its own function. We have red blood cells that carry oxygen, white blood cells that fight infections, and platelets that help with blood clotting. In leukemia, the body starts producing an excessive amount of abnormal white blood cells, which don't function as they should. These abnormal cells start to outnumber the healthy cells in the blood and bone marrow, making it hard for the body to fight infections, transport oxygen, and control bleeding. Leukemia can be acute, meaning it progresses quickly, or chronic, which means it develops slowly over time. It can also be classified based on the type of white blood cell it affects, lymphocytic or myeloid. Now you might be wondering, what causes leukemia? Well, the exact cause is not known, but certain factors can increase the risk. These include exposure to high levels of radiation, certain chemicals, some genetic disorders, and a family history of leukemia. The symptoms of leukemia vary depending on the type and stage, but they can include fatigue, frequent infections, unexplained weight loss, easy bruising or bleeding, and bone pain or tenderness. It's important to remember that leukemia is not contagious. You can't catch it like a cold or the flu. It's a complex disease with many variables that can affect its development and progression. So, now that we know what leukemia is, let's delve deeper into how this disease affects children and adults differently. As we move forward, we'll explore the unique challenges and experiences faced by these two age groups, and how understanding these differences can help shape treatment and support strategies. Stay tuned. How does leukemia show up in children? Let's discuss. Leukemia, a cancer of the blood and bone marrow, is not selective. It can affect anyone, regardless of age, and children are no exception. The most common type of leukemia in children is acute lymphoblastic leukemia, or ALL for short. ALL begins in the bone marrow where blood cells are made. It's characterized by the rapid growth of immature white blood cells, which ultimately overcrowd and replace healthy cells. This, in turn, leads to a myriad of symptoms, ranging from fatigue and fever to unexplained weight loss and frequent infections. So how do we treat this formidable disease? Thankfully, medicine has come a long way. Treatment methods for ALL in children generally involve a combination of chemotherapy to kill cancer cells, stem cell transplants to replenish healthy blood cells, and targeted therapy to attack specific features of the cancer cells. And what about survival rates? Well, there's good news. With advancements in medical technology and treatment, more than 85% of children with ALL now survive 5 years or more. That's a huge leap from just a few decades ago, but it's important to remember that these are not just statistics. Behind every number is a child, a family, grappling with the emotional and physical toll that this disease can take. The journey through leukemia is often marked by periods of intense treatment, hospital stays, and the inevitable ups and downs that come with a cancer diagnosis. This journey is not only about medical procedures and survival rates. It's about resilience and courage, about families coming together in the face of adversity, and about children who, despite their young age, show an unimaginable strength. Leukemia in children is indeed a challenging ordeal. It's a fight against a formidable enemy, but it's a fight that many children are winning, thanks to advances in medicine, the love and support of their families, and their own incredible bravery. But what about adults? How does leukemia affect them? Leukemia in adults, is it the same as in children? Now that's a question with a complex answer. You see, while leukemia is a type of cancer that occurs in the blood cells, its manifestation and impact can vary significantly between adults and children. In adults, the most common types of leukemia are chronic lymphocytic leukemia, or CLL, and acute myeloid leukemia, or AML. CLL typically progresses slowly and might not require immediate treatment, while AML is a fast-growing type of leukemia that requires prompt attention. So, what are the symptoms? Adults with leukemia may experience a range of symptoms, including fatigue, frequent infections, unexplained weight loss, and easy bruising or bleeding. These symptoms can often be subtle and easily mistaken for signs of aging or general malaise, which is why regular checkups are so important. Treatment methods for adult leukemia can vary depending on the type and stage of the disease, as well as the overall health of the patient. Options may include chemotherapy, targeted therapy, radiation therapy, and in some cases, stem cell transplantation. Now, let's talk numbers for a moment. Survival rates for adult leukemia have been improving over the years, but they still vary widely. For instance, the 5-year survival rate for AML is around 26%, while for CLL it's around 83%. It's important to remember, though, that these are just statistics. Each person's journey with leukemia is unique. Leukemia doesn't just affect the individual diagnosed, it impacts their lifestyle and their families too. Patients often need to make significant lifestyle changes, such as maintaining a healthier diet, getting regular exercise, and avoiding exposure to infections. Their families also need to adapt, providing emotional and physical support while navigating the complexities of care. So, there you have it. It's clear that adult leukemia is a complex disease that presents unique challenges. But with the right medical care, lifestyle adaptations, and family support, many adults with leukemia can lead fulfilling lives. As we've seen, leukemia in adults presents its own unique challenges. But remember, there's always hope and there's always help. So, how do leukemia in children and adults compare and contrast? Let's dive into the complexities of this question. When we talk about types of leukemia, we notice some distinct differences. In children, acute lymphoblastic leukemia, or ALL, is the most common type. It's a fast-growing leukemia that affects lymphoid cells. Adults, on the other hand, frequently battle against chronic lymphocytic leukemia, or CLL. This type is slower progressing and affects mature lymphoid cells. The symptoms of leukemia can also contrast. Children often experience symptoms such as fatigue, pale skin, and frequent infections due to an impaired immune system. Adults, however, might see more varied symptoms, including night sweats, unintentional weight loss, and swollen lymph nodes. Let's move on to treatments. Both children and adults might undergo chemotherapy, radiation therapy, or stem cell transplantation. But the doses and types of drugs can differ. Children's bodies are still growing and developing, so doctors must balance effectiveness with the potential long-term side effects. In adults, the focus is often on managing the disease and enhancing the quality of life, considering factors like the patient's age and overall health. Now, survival rates. It's a heavy topic, but an important one. Generally, children have higher survival rates, thanks to their resilience and the effectiveness of treatments for the types of leukemia common in children. For adults, the survival rates can vary widely, depending on the type of leukemia and other health factors. Lastly, the emotional and physical impacts of leukemia can't be underestimated. Children may struggle with the disruption to their normal life, while adults might grapple with the financial and psychological burdens of managing a chronic illness. Leukemia, whether in children or adults, is a battle, but understanding the differences can help us manage it better. We can tailor treatments, provide targeted support, and most importantly, give hope. Because when we understand, we empower ourselves to fight back stronger and smarter. So let's keep learning, keep supporting, and keep fighting together. So what have we learned today about the leukemia in children and adults? Well, we've unearthed a lot of intriguing and essential facts. Let's dive back in for a quick recap. We began our journey by understanding leukemia, a type of cancer that affects the blood and bone marrow. We learned that there are many types of this disease, but they all start in a cell in the bone marrow. The cell undergoes a change and becomes a type of leukemia cell. From there, we moved on to discuss leukemia in children. We found out that the most common types in children are acute lymphoblastic leukemia and acute myeloid leukemia. We also learned about the symptoms, which often include fatigue, fever, and bruising. But we also discovered that these symptoms can be common in many childhood illnesses, making leukemia a tricky disease to diagnose. We then turned our attention to adults. We learned that the most common type of leukemia in adults is chronic lymphocytic leukemia. Symptoms in adults can be similar to those in children, but they can also include swollen lymph nodes and weight loss. We also discussed the various treatment options available, which can include chemotherapy, radiation therapy, stem cell transplantation, and targeted therapy. We compared and contrasted the disease in children and adults, shedding light on the differences in symptoms, diagnosis, treatment, and survival rates. We also touched upon the emotional and physical impacts of the disease, emphasizing that while the journey is tough, there are numerous support systems available to help, In essence, we've learned that leukemia, whether in children or adults, is a formidable adversary. Yet, with the right knowledge, early detection, and proper treatment, it can be fought head-on. Remember, knowledge is power when fighting against diseases like leukemia. The more we know, the better equipped we are to face any challenge that comes our way. So keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep supporting those in the fight. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more informative content like this. Together we can make a difference.